have, in what order, what should be your first hire, and how do you grow up the business to 6 figures? Well, I believe the first hire should definitely be somebody to help you do all the work. You need to hire a part-time employee, then work them up to full-time, get them on payroll, get them going, somebody who can help you cut the grass, do the weed whipping, blow, rake the leaves, install the mulch, right? You don't need to worry about an office person when you first get started, unless you already happen to have that office person. I'm talking about this in another video. Why should your girlfriend, fiance, wife, or whatever help you in your business or not? And of course, if you have office support, that's very important, but they're competing. What do I get? Someone in the field or office support? Someone in the field. I definitely think it's someone in the field, because if the production in the field isn't working, then the money's not coming in. You can stop and sit in the truck and you can do the invoices, you can collect money, you can get a lot done by being in the field, right? But once you get so swamped with work, then you're going to want to bring on someone else. The season goes up and down. So you make a promise, you got to keep it. If you hire someone part-time, the next person is a part-time person that you get up to full-time. The best way to do it is to hire somebody that has leadership initiative, somebody who can take charge of their job. They can drive a truck, you can leave them and go get materials and do quotes, or break apart if you're really busy and split up, and they can handle it. Now, the next step is office support. The highest, most important thing in an admin support, because you have production, we got that talked about. Now we have administration, which is handling the phones and the paperwork. Number one is receptionist, handling the phones. So in the phones, I use you can have someone help you do it. You could do it all yourself. To hire somebody full-time in the office or even part-time is expensive. You got to put it on payroll. You have to have an office. If they do it from home, do they have like screaming kids and dogs barking in the background? That's not good for your business, because when customers are on the phone, they're gonna be like, whoa, what kind of business did I call, right? People understand that people are working from home right now, so things might have actually changed. So people are more forgiving of that. Keep that in mind. But nonetheless, some type of receptionist. I use a virtual receptionist. They're called Jill's Office, and they're great. They're highly trained virtual receptionists. They pick up the phone, or all the overflow phone calls that if you don't have time to pick up the phone, or if you're stuck working for 6 hours and you can't get to the phone, one of those calls could have been a $10,000 or $20,000 phone call, or like a whole commercial lot of lawns or something that you wanted to get. Check them out. I'll put a link in the description below to everything I'm talking about in this video. You don't have to worry. So the next is how you're going to run your business and do the work and answer the phones and manage the payroll and deal with the insurance companies and the work comp and all this crap. It can get really stressful because you're wearing so many different hats. And I know firsthand what it's like to have mud all over my hands and be digging physically in a ditch, sweating while picking up the phone and taking down a customer's information, and then pulling over on the side of the road and doing an invoice, and then being stressed, and then you hire somebody and they don't know what to do, but you're stuck doing the administrative activities. So now they're sitting there with their thumb up their ass because they don't know what to do, and then you can get discouraged. One of the biggest mistakes that I made moving into this is being Mr. Do-It-All. Too many services too fast will really hurt your business. So if you offer more different types of service, if you do landscaping, lawns, shrub trimming, mulch, and then you get into gutter cleaning, window cleaning, power washing, you do all these things. Now you're installing trees. This is too many services that you have to teach not only yourself to do it right and stand behind the work, but also employees, then different types of invoices and admin work. Now it's different levels of insurance. So if you're only doing something a couple times a year, or a couple times a month, but that thing makes you really good money, you have to decide at some point, are you going to continue to do that or not? Because it's going to get really confusing to train or try to hire employees for that thing. If you stick to one service or just a couple services and you buckle down at that, it's going to take longer to grow the business, because now you're narrowing your niche. It's taking longer to grow a clientele. That's why I was Mr. Do-It-All. I'm like, dude, you got money? I'll do it if you're gonna pay. And that got confusing quick. So we throw mud at the wall to see what sticks, generate activity in the business, hire people to get it going, and then as you find out what's making you money or what service area you can work in, dude, I could talk about this for hours. But let's go to the next step. The next step is how you're going to manage the books. So, all right, you got someone in the field working. You want that person to become your right-hand man as soon as possible. You got another person working. You might have a full-time guy and a part-time guy, or 2 full-time guys. Then next step is office administrative support. That can be a part-time secretary, receptionist. Some people say if it works in your relationship, if you got your wife or your girlfriend and they like doing it, by all means, pay them and let them do it. And then you can probably trust them more. And then the next is managing payroll and all the insurance stuff, right? When you do commercial work, commercial properties, they want to see copies, up-to-date copies of insurance policies. You got to be dealing with payroll companies, and this stuff has to be done in a timely manner. And you will get swift fines and fees if you're not on top of your shit when it comes to payroll and insurance. So if you're the type of person, that stuff gives me anxiety. I've been doing it for years. I just don't like dealing with it, but I do anyways. But if you're the type of person you like to work with your hands and be out in the field, then you have to have somebody doing administrative support, even if it's 20 hours a week. If you can't afford it, the only way to fix that is to raise your prices. When you raise your prices, now you start losing customers. And then you think, how am I going to pay for this? If I raise my, it's like this chicken and egg thing. Well, the only way to do that is you got to get good at marketing and advertising and learning how to position yourself as an expert, getting more leads coming in, how to qualify yourself as a professional to customers, have a defined service area so you're not driving outside of your service area and making, losing unnecessary money, doing these long trips. It's eating up labor. It's called non-billable hours is basically. So this business thing is this evolving ecosystem that's a constant uphill battle. Every time you try to make a tweak here, it's stressing you out here. So you fix that, then it's stressing. It's like the whack-a-mole game, and it's constant. Like there's never ever a moment where you're like, now I can relax, because everything you open up is another Pandora's box. And I promise you, just like I think about taking like a map, and you take like a straw that you drink out of, and look and squint your eye and look through look at the map through the straw. You can only see so much territory, but as you run your business through time and you've been all over the place, you start to open up this map and this territory. Now you can see it, just like the block you grew up in, the street and the city and the malls and where you've been. You know, you could probably draw an actual map. Well, the more you do this business thing is the more that you actually can draw a map of what it all looks like, because you've been through that situation. You've dealt with the insurance companies. You've dealt with this mistake in the business. You've paid the painful lesson. You've learned for it. You've hired an employee out of desperation, or hired the wrong person, and made the mistake and lost them and had to, the more you go through this, nothing beats cold hard experience. But number one is you got to jump in. Here's a mistake I made. Stupid mistake. I can make a whole video about this. I hired a guy and I wanted to turn him into an actual legit subcontractor, where he would like use his truck and then lease tools from me and get his own whole business name, and me legit just walk properties, give him the jobs, and he would manage the whole job and do everything and pay him as a legit subcontractor, right? He would get his own insurance and everything. And I remember one time my friend Eric, who does roofing, he said to me, he's like, hey man, as long as I'm making my 30%, I'm good. He's talking about subcontracting, like you want to make your 30% cut. I didn't understand the math back then. Don't ever make this mistake. It's like the best part of this video. What Eric meant was, as long as he's making his 30% profit after all of the overhead and cost of goods sold and everything, so which includes that subcontractor, right? So 70%, including the subcontractor, and then Eric gets 30% profit. I'm just using him as an example. I made this kid a promise. I'm like, dude, I'll give you 70% of the whole job, and as long as I get my 30%. And then we were about to launch the whole thing, right? Because there's a difference between actual payroll employees and a real subcontractor, right? And then all of a sudden I start doing all the math. I'm like, wait a second, this is the dumbest decision ever. If I give him 70%, of the whole job. Do you get what I'm saying here? And I only keep 30%. I still have to pay the business overhead and all the other things that are happening in the business. He would have to get the 70% and cover all the materials and all the, basically, if you put this on paper, it's the dumbest decision ever. I would be doing all of it for free, and that guy would be keeping all the money. So what I mean is, you got to know your numbers and know your math and know your books very well. You got to, numbers are everything in all business, specifically in this business we're talking about right now. That's why I have a bookkeeper. I use Blue Sky Services. My bookkeeper, trying to do your books yourself is a huge pain in the ass. I'll put a link below to my bookkeeper. You can save $175 off the registration fee if you want to. If not, there's tons of other bookkeepers, but I really like these guys. I can see exactly the cost of goods sold and the labor, the payroll, the contract labor, everything that's coming in and out of the business, and I know my percentages down to the penny. So when you have all this happening and you're tracking everything that's going on in the business, how much for every single job, what did it cost to do the job, everything, gas, brake pads, labor, cell phone bills, separated from all your personal expenses. It takes a long time to get all this stuff going because you got to collect the data and then spend all the time to organize it. If you're working in the field and managing employees and dealing with stuff in the office all at once, when do you get the time to actually take all this stuff that's happening and go and organize it into spreadsheets so you can see what really happened and what's going on, so you get a vital snapshot of what's going on in the business? You don't get the time to do that because you literally don't have the time. And then you make the dumb decision. I'm not saying you're doing this. I definitely didn't do this because I saw it. Oh, let's go get a new house, dog, and let's go get that F-250. Let's go start blowing money on what? Oh, finally you get that watch. We're going to Hawaii, and let's go buy a camper and start spending money before you actually know where you're really at, right? So you hire the employees, someone to help you in the field, then you get someone in the office. Phones is first, then all the administrative activities, the invoicing, the billing, accounts payable, accounts receivable. Make sure your business and personal finances are separate. Make sure you get an accountant right away, and then you got to get a bookkeeper. So we got marketing, you got administration, production, and then you got sales. Sales is another. Who's going to do the sales in your business? It's probably going to be you. I do all the sales in my business, and there's something you can say. Nothing ever happens until a sale is made. It's an amazing saying. Nothing happens to a sales made, and sales solve all problems. Remember this. When times get tough in your business and you need money really bad, sales solve all problems. My friend DJ talks about this. And we're going to Kentucky, the GIE Expo soon, and I'm going to be shooting some videos with him. I'll see you at the GIE Expo. You better come. You get 50% off your tickets. I put a link below to everything I'm talking about. With my link, you get 50% off the tickets. When DJ used to say this to me, sales solve all problems, I'm like, no, that's bullshit, because if you go sell something, then you're going to do all the work and manage all the stuff. Of course you have to go do all the work and manage it all and deal with all the mistakes and all that. Not only sales solve problems, but when you know your numbers and you're selling and learning to say no to all the stuff that isn't paying you the margins that you need to, the numbers you need to make your margins, because the dumbest thing, or not dumb, but a big mistake is going and making a bunch of sales where the dollar amount and the money ain't right, and it can't afford you to pay for and support the infrastructure of a legitimized business that runs smoothly and provides you a healthy profit, not only so you can get paid and have all your personal expenses taken care of, but also a healthy profit so you can be fucking happy and motivated to run your business. There's nothing worse than working 80 hours a week running a business and you're not making any money and you hate it. Let me know in the comments below if you've been there, right? So that means, oh my God, I got to start saying no to all of this. So sales is a whole nother skill in and of itself that you have to learn. You got to go to events, buy online courses about selling, read books about selling, stop listening to so much music, even though music is motivating, and let's start listening to some audiobooks about learning how to sell, some Grant Cardone stuff, and can increase your selling skills and your conversion rates and your closing rates. Another thing I learned is when you show up to a job, a quote to meet a customer, you are not showing up to sell a job. You're showing up to get a signature and a deposit check. you're showing up to collect a check. You want a 30 or 50% deposit. I'll put a link in the description below this video, or a card right here, but check below why you must always collect a deposit. I shot a video about that recently. So you're showing up with the intention of collecting a deposit. Let's back up a little bit. Well, how do you know if you're going to collect a deposit if you haven't had a formal conversation on the phone with the customer talking about, are they even qualified? Are you guys even a good fit? Right? Don't confuse productivity with activity. So you might think, yeah, I'll be right there. And now you're running all over the place meeting all these customers that you haven't just stopped and just talked to for 2-3 minutes on the phone and qualified before you go drive 20 minutes across town or go sit in traffic. And even if it's 5 minutes across town, you're going to go walk around the property of the customer for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes or an hour, right? Depending on how long it is, how big the job is. If it's an hour, it's probably going to be a $10,000 job. If it's 10 minutes, it might be just something you could do over the phone. Can you eliminate and dematerialize all this? I got a video coming out here about dematerialization, about can you eliminate all in-person activities and just do it virtually? Can you set up a sales and selling or marketing a virtual system so you can quote things without actually having to physically be there? Can you do video chats with customers? Think about this. Now, the next step, if the customer isn't qualified and you're running around meeting all these customers, can we actually take a step back farther and go into marketing and positioning? How can you make your website look, and your business cards and your voicemail and your marketing materials and all the things, and when the customers go onto your Google or your Yelp, your Yahoo, your Bing, your blog, when they go onto your social media and they see your business, is it positioned in a way, is the communication positioned in a way that automatically weeds out the customers that aren't qualified and the cheapskates who are just looking for the chuck in the truck, cheapest guy? Now, if you're just getting started, you might want to get all those customers because those are the ones where you get in, where you fit in, and then you slowly expand the top as you dissolve the bottom. You dissolve the bottom as you expand the top. Year 1, you take whatever you can get. Year 2, you're a little more picky. By year 3 in the business, you're just dealing with creamo jobs, right? It took me like 5 years to figure this out because my self-esteem and my confidence was low. But you can keep going upstream and finding out this all starts with the marketing, the positioning. How do you get that going? Well, you got to learn about how to market your business and how to position your business. And how do you build positioning and credibility and authority and influence on the internet, where you are not only just like a trusted service provider, but you actually become a trusted authority, or the authority. You have like this preeminence, which is like you're the obvious choice. People go on Google, you got the most amount of positive 5-star reviews. They look, everything is just totally legit. Now the top of the top customers who have already been through the run of the mill are calling you because they want to spend a couple extra bucks. They want quality. They want to write the check and have a problem solved. When you realize finally that you are in a business of solving people's problems, you create results, period. As soon as you realize that, oh my God, that applies to like almost every business and service. You're in the service business. You have a heart of service, but you're there to create results. But you can't create great results and serve your customers at a high level unless you're charging the right prices, unless you have support in your office, which is timely invoices and timely communication, following up with customers, right? Unless you're properly licensed and insured, that is, if you're like a U.S. citizen and you're running an actual corporation and a business, right? On that side of the jurisdiction. And unless you have help in the field and then somebody selling the work. So this whole ecosystem you build, this business that can't gobble up and consume your personal life, because it really is a lifestyle, owning a service business. Like, it can take your whole life up. And excuse me, I'm talking your head up. So I think the final step, it can happen, it's like the 6-year itch or the 5-year mark, is when, around the 5-year mark is when you've worked your tail off and you've done everything you can to get this business to a healthy, established point. And then you finally, it hits you that you hate this business and you want out, and you are looking at any other thing except for your business. That is the key defining moment between the haves and the have-nots, whether or not you make it or break it. Somewhere around the 5-year mark is where you become totally depressed and you hate your business. Let me know in the comments below. And you want the hell out of this industry. You find every reason why it's the worst thing ever. That's your breaking breakthrough point that when you lean into that, and when it gets really hard right there, that's when you can finally have a breakthrough. And that breakthrough usually comes in the form of fuck it. What do I mean by that? When you finally just throw in the towel and I'm done with this business. I don't even care anymore. I don't care if all the customers fire me, if I lose them. I don't care if we lose everything. I can't take this anymore. I'm done. When you finally throw in the towel and you give up and you're done, well, if I'm totally done, here's the thought, and I don't even care anymore, if I do even take on a landscape job, or I hire somebody, or I take on anything having to do with this business anymore, it's going to be my way or the highway. And I don't mean that in some type of like negative way. I just mean it like in an empowering way. These are the new rules if I'm going to do this anymore. If I'm going to do this anymore, it's going to be like this, because I ain't having it no other way, because I've already been down that path and it sucks. This is the way this is getting done. Like, it's just this whole new thing. So when you can take that, it's not a vindictive thing. It's not a revengeful thing. It's a whole new level of, now you can go back to square one and refine the basics in your business. Oh my God, this is all we really are. It's simple. We're just cutting grass. We're doing mulch. We're trimming trees. We're installing landscapes. This is the way we do it. Let's get some systems in place. It's this whole new evolution in your business that takes place. And I think that I'm good there, because I'll start talking about some other stuff that I want to talk to. So I hope that helped you if you're brand new or in your first couple years in getting in the business. That the final evolution is when you're running a business that there's no final evolution. That doesn't even make any sense. You can never out-evolve yourself. But this beautiful place you get to one day is when you're running a business that you really love, you're actually happy doing it, and you really care about your customers and clients and the projects, and you really care about serving people at a high level, but you need to get paid. I like Grant Cardone. He's like, who's got my money? And he's proud of that. And because you really, really, really care, but you're not going to let it get to you and destroy your life or your personal life, and you're not going to let these customers walk all over you. It's just this whole new level. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I really care about your success. I started my business out of the back of my wife's car. I was broke with nothing. I saved up, finally got a rusty old truck. Dude, I barely made it by the skin of my teeth and my fingers crossed. And the only way it worked is I was out there doing 90 hours a week. It was 40 hours of straight work and another 50 hours of just, the other 50 hours was just cleaning up all the mistakes that I was making. And it's a learning curve. And a lot of this roots in your worth, your worthiness, your self-worth. That's the biggest part of the personal development, is when you feel worthy of it in your heart, that's when things will start coming your way, when you feel worthy. All right, peace.